Alright, so everything on Call of Duty World War II seems to be leveling out right now. Loading times feel a little bit better, everything feels a little bit more tight. There are still glitches and bugs and long loading times, but it's miles better than what it was just 2 days ago. But I wanted to do a positive video about Call of Duty World War II and talk about something I'm really enjoying about it, and that is the fact that it's bare bones, but not simple. It has a form of bare bones complexity. The game actually has a very interesting way that you have to set up your division or your class and how you have to customize what abilities you do or do not have. The maps aren't super formulaic, super symmetrical 3-lane maps. They actually have varying levels of elevation and cover. There's some maps that feel like they're completely flat, and other ones have high buildings and areas you can get on top of. One of my favorite maps is actually Gustav Cannon. I know a lot of people hate that map, but me, as kind of a Battlefield fan, I like maps that have a lot of variety in their engagements. Even maps that have some frustrating vantage points or frustrating areas, I think, in my opinion, are better than maps that are just boring, cookie cutter. I'm tired of it. The last 3 Call of Duties, they had some interesting maps in them, but for the most part, my brain just went on autopilot. After playing Black Ops 2 for so long, it was so refreshing to go to Call of Duty Ghosts back in the day, because Ghosts had intricate, large maps. And yes, sometimes they were frustrating and sometimes somebody would, God forbid, camp a little bit, but that's fine. Call of Duty doesn't need to be SMG warfare with drop-shotting and jump-shotting across 3-lane symmetrical maps. That's not what it has to be. But what did I say? It's kind of like a bare bones experience. Well, you don't get to be a super soldier anymore. You don't get to pour attachment after attachment, perk after perk onto your class. Now, I have nothing wrong with the way the system's been handled the last 3 Call of Duty games, where you have 3 tiers of perks and then you can have 2 perks within each tier by using a wild card. And I also like that you could trade all of your perks and get like 6 attachments in games like Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3. There's a place for that, but I like that Call of Duty World War II is more limiting. It almost leaves you wanting more on your classes. This encourages different playstyles and switching classes mid-game because you want a different experience. If you're a Call of Duty player, the best thing I can relate it to is when you have a challenge for like gold camo or diamond camo, where it says like you have to get 50 kills without perks or attachments, and you kind of just have to rely on you and your gun. I like that. Obviously there's attachments and there's the basic training perks, but for the most part, fundamentally, it's you and your weapon and how you navigate the map. And the map isn't super symmetrical cookie cutter. It's bare bones, it's simple, but it's also complex. Because just like with every Call of Duty, and it's one of the hooks I have with the series, is that even though creating a class, or in this game, creating your division, isn't really that hard, doing the wrong thing, having the wrong combination, or the lack of an optimal combination, it's detrimental. You have to create your class well, you have to read what everything does and learn from in-game experience. And also, since every map is a little bit different and none of the maps just feel like carbon copies of themselves, it forces you to have to use different classes and different weapons and combinations for the different maps you're playing on. The thing is when the maps are simplified, when the weapon customization is simplified to these are the correct perks to use, this is the right gun to use, and all of the maps have roughly the same exact layout, you just have to turn your brain off. You can run just about anything, anywhere, whatever the good gun is, just go ahead and use it. That's why the NV4 and Infinite Warfare was so powerful. It's that every map kind of forced the same engagement, so if you use the NV4 on the largest map in IW, it'd be good, and use the NV4 on the smallest map, it'd also be good, because really the small maps aren't that small and the big maps aren't really that big. I consider every map in Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3 to be medium or medium small, and maybe that's the Battlefield player in me saying that. They feel tiny, squished, like they're forcing an engagement that you don't want to always have to have. It's brain numbing after a while. To someone that plays so many different shooters like Squad and Battlefield and Titanfall that gives you all these different experiences, playing a Call of Duty that just like is the same thing almost every match, the same formula every match, it's frustrating. But with Call of Duty World War II, you have big and small maps and medium-sized maps, maps with no elevation, maps with buildings and top story windows that you have to watch out for. Weird alleyways and sightlines that, yes, it could frustrate you, yes, there could be a camper, but I'm sorry, in my opinion, it's almost objectively a better gaming experience than just doing the same thing every match. I'd rather a map where a noob can sit in the back and like just crouch in a corner with an assault rifle and just wait all game and, you know, not be touched. And I know that's just considered terrible, right? But I'd rather a map that allows a newbie player to head glitch a corner or sit in a corner all game than a map that forces engagement so everybody is constantly in each other's shit all the time. That's fatiguing, that's annoying. Having complex maps means having more complex engagements and more variety of engagements. And having a more simple, more bare bones approach to create a class means it's more up to gun skill and how you use that weapon and how comfortable you are with that weapon. And it does all of that while still having customization, while still taking a couple of historical liberties, so that throughout the year of this game you can have hundreds of different types of variations and different looking weapons and different looking reticules in your glass sights. In my personal opinion, other than some technical issues, I think Call of Duty World War II is one of the best thought out Call of Duty games in a long time. It doesn't pander to the lowest common denominator, and it doesn't aim to please elitists or pub stompers. If you don't like Call of Duty, you're not going to like Call of Duty World War II. If you like Call of Duty, then Call of Duty World War II will give you a fresh take on it that hasn't really been seen in a while. Going back to what I said, the map design feels reminiscent of Call of Duty 2, and that's a COD game that came out in 2005. You don't have the big, messy, weird, complicated maps of COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2, but you don't have the cookie-cutter, 3-lane design maps of Black Ops 2 and 3. And like I said in my Halo video I did a while back, the more variety you have in between maps, the more I'm going to want to sit and play your game, because each match will not be the same experience. Give me things to look out for, give me things to be scared of, give me things to be frustrated at, so I'm not just sitting and grinding the same layout with a different skin every fucking time. The map design of the last 3 Call of Duty games has not helped the accusations that Call of Duty is made for kids. The map design was too simple, and it burnt me out, and it burnt a lot of other people out on it. Now, if you're a pub stomper, you run the best guns, you drop shot, you jump shot, you go for the highest streaks, that's your goal every game. Maybe you want simpler maps, faster times to kill, better streaks. That's fine for you, and you might not like the maps because of that. But for me, personally, I like a wide variety of experiences in any shooter that I play. So the summary of this video is that Call of Duty World War II is both complex and simple at the same time. It takes a bare bones approach in some cases, and takes a more complex, nuanced approach in others, and I love that. If you don't like the way Call of Duty World War II is set up, that's fine, but I will ask you to ask yourself this. Maybe is it time to go off of autopilot? Thank you guys so much for watching. My voice is pretty much dead from being sick, so thanks for bearing with this commentary. If you got all the way through to this part in the commentary, please leave me a get well boom down in the comment section below. And I'll see you when I see you guys. Goodbye.